Hello everyone, welcome to Shiun Kung Fu System. I'm Leon Zhu. Today I want to talk about how to do the self-defense. Whether you can do the self-defense successfully, it depends on a lot of conditions. One of the conditions is that whether you can attack on the critical points. If you can attack on the critical points successfully, it can save you a lot of time. Today, I want to talk about how to attack on the thought. Because of the structure of the human body, if we want to attack on the thought successfully, the most suitable way of attacking on the thought is use cut. We have another method of attacking the thought. For example, we can use the hand and looks like this. You curl the fingers like this, and then we try to hit on our opponent's thought. We have to make our weapons, whether you use cut, whether you use this taking hand curl fingers, try to get into the narrow space to hit our opponent. This is the second way. Surely we can use the third way. The third way is that we can attack our opponent, okay, like this. So there are at least three ways of attacking the opponent's thoughts. First, cut directly. Second, we can use the curl fingers hand to attack on our opponent's thought like this. We can use the hand, surely we curl the fingers, attack on our opponent's thought. That's what I want to introduce you, the most effective ways of attacking on our opponent's thoughts. Since you have already know how to use your weapon in a correct way to attack on our opponent's thoughts, we have to enlarge the power of attacking. How to increase the power of attacking? The first essential exercise looks like this. You can do the movement like 1, 2, 3, 4, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, back. Why I use this exercise to increase the power of attacking on our opponent's thought, especially when you use the cut attack? Because you see, when I want to cut his thought, the arm and the head looks like this. You observe the trajectory of attacking. Okay, see, from left to right. So when you do this exercise, you strengthen your arms and then you open and then back and then elbow attack. This movement is closely related to the power of attacking on our opponent's thoughts with your cut. Okay, get the idea? When you do the movement 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is closely related to the power of cut. Surely you can change the exercise like this: 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, these two kinds of exercise are all needed for increasing the power of your attacking, especially for the cut attack. Next, I want to talk about something detailed when you are using the cut attack. Normally, I will ask my students to do the exercise like this: 1 and 2. 1 and 2. See my hand? 1 and 2. Why I use this movement like this? That's because normally the bad guy is trying to attack on me with his fist. If I want to use my cut to attack on his thought, first we meet an obstacle here. So basically we need another method to handle this obstacle. To deal with this obstacle, we need to move this obstacle away. So normally I use 踩手. 踩手 looks like this. When I touch his hand, and then I have to control or deviate this attacking hand so that this attacking hand cannot attack on my face directly. It is very dangerous. I touch the attacking hand and then I do the 踩手. When I do the 踩手, you can observe the body structure of my body. See, my body rotated a little bit increase the potential energy, and then I release the potential energy, try to attack on our opponent's thought. The point you have to focus on is the way how I use my body and my arm to attack on our opponent's thought. Touch first, and then first, see, my hand is here. Second, I rotate my arm, and at the same time, I cut. My hand touches hand here, and then I 抬手. See, my right hand now rotate and then release the potential energy, attack on our opponent's thought directly. We have the movement like this. Basically, our opponent will look like this to protect his thought. So if you use fist, and then it is not easy for you to attack, to get into this narrow space, right? So that's why I use cut, to cut his thought directly. The above is the explanation of how to cut our opponent's thought and how to increase the power of your cut. It's very easy and essential. Now I want to illustrate the method of attacking our opponent's thoughts with the second attacking hand. I touch first, and then I try to control his right elbow, and I directly to hit on his right thought. One first, and then second, I try to hit on our opponent's thought like this. One here, and two. One, two. This is the second method of attacking on our opponent's thought. In the above discussion, we have already seen that I use cut to cut our opponent's thought. Second, I illustrate how to use the curling finger hand to attack on our opponent's thought. It looks like this. The combination to attack on our opponent's thought, it may look like this. This kind of combination is very useful when you try to do the self-defense. Now I want to illustrate how to combine the above two movements into a single one. I touch first, and then I going on to attack on his thoughts. Normally, if I am too slow or he is good, he will use his left arm to block or make my hands away to protect his thoughts. It is very, very reasonable, right? Here, he tries to block. And then I will use torso to cut his neck directly. See, whenever the things looks like this, I can also make him down, okay? Here, cut. Here, cut. Hit, cut. First, I use this attack. When he discovers that this attack is going on toward his thought, he may use his left hand to block my right hand attack. Whenever this happens, I 抬手 and then change my attacking hand. It becomes a cut to cut his thought directly. The above movements is just an example of how to combine the above two movements into a single one. Now I try to illustrate another variation. Here, I hit and then he block. Okay, and then I cut. See, cut. Whenever this happens, then I can use my elbow directly and then give him the elbow attack. Here, and I punch, he blocks, and then I cut. Whenever I cut, I hit his face and then elbow attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit, cut, elbow, elbow. That is what I want to talk about on self-defense. Because if you can attack on our opponent on the critical point successfully, it can save you a lot of time. Surely, if you can attack on the critical points with much more power, then it not only saves your time, but also you can knock the opponent down. I illustrate how to attack on the throat. Next, I want to talk about more and more on the critical points.